step by step. Okay, Dr. Kalita, so we'll start.
Yeah. Yeah. So, uh, okay, again, before we start this entire discussion, there is a particular remark from our side, from both of our side, is that this particular session, we have designed it to be a very informal one because the basic understanding or the basic outcome of this particular session should be that how you can build effective collaborations, how you can build a good collaborative network, how you can increase the impact of your research, and how you can increase the both the qualitative as well as the quantitative value of your research. So that is the basic necessity. The necessity is not to know all the, or the objective of this particular session is not to know all the jargons that are associated with the this particular field. Again, I should tell you that in this particular type of area, or in this particular area of the research collaboration, some people have even had a extensive have done extensive research on this area also, and they have come up with a lot of technical terms for all these kind of the terms that we are going to use now, or all the kind of things that we are going to discuss now. But intentionally we are not going to use all those kind of technical jargons because we do not believe that that will be of any significance to you. The only significance to you will be the fact that you learn or you learn the basic techniques, or you learn how to build a collaborative network, and then you deploy it in your real life situation. So having said that, the end note for the this particular kind of disclaimer is that this is a very informal kind of session, and that is why a number of terms that we are going to use here. For example, in the next slide also and in this slide also, the number of terms that you'll see here that are kind of our own terms, means these are some of the terms that we have come up with. These are not the technical jargons. Okay, so please be a little aware of these particular facts. So let us start with the different types of collaboration. So we had a discussion before even coming to this platform, and we felt that we can categorize all kind of collaborations that we have in three different types. The first one could be the domestic in-house collaboration. The second one could be the domestic institutional collaboration, or you may call it as the national collaboration. And the third one, you can call it as the international collaboration. So we'll go into detail step by step. For example, the first one, the domestic in-house collaboration, it is something that you do with your own peer group in your own institute. For example, suppose say you are in, suppose say IIT Kharagpur. So if you are collaborating with some certain researchers of IIT Kharagpur, or suppose say you are in a particular lab at IIT Kharagpur, and you are collaborating with only the lab mates of that particular institute, then it is a kind of domestic in-house collaboration, because your geographical boundary is not outside that particular network. Again, here when we say domestic in-house collaboration, we also essentially mean that uh, again we can divide this domestic, means in our terms, in our thoughts, we can uh, we don't know the exact technical meaning, but technical description could be, but in our terms we would like to describe the domestic in-house collaboration again into, or segregate into again two parts. One could be the domain-wise collaboration, and one could be the inter-domain collaboration. What we mean by that is that when you are collaborating with someone from your own fields, for example, suppose say I'm from mechanical engineering, and I'm collaborating with a fellow colleague from my own institute who is also from mechanical domain, then that could be a case of domestic in-house collaboration of the or domain-wise domestic in-house collaboration. Okay, or intra-domain domestic in-house collaboration. And the second one that I told you, that could be inter-domain domestic in-house collaboration, in which suppose say I am from mechanical, I collaborate with someone from computer science department of the same institute. Or suppose say the even in my own department, I collaborate with somebody who is not from my field. For example, when we do PhD, or when we are into research, we know that even in the field of mechanical engineering, or even in the small field also, we become very restricted. I mean, suppose say I work in the area of solid mechanics. There might be a colleague who works in the area of fluid mechanics. So essentially, what happens is that even though we are in the broad domain of mechanical engineering, we both work on very different kinds of problems. So even if when you are collaborating with that kind of a researcher who is within your domain, but on a completely different type of problem than your actual problem, that also you can think of as a intra-domain or intra-area domestic in-house collaboration. So what are your thoughts on this, Dr. Ranjan?
Yes, that you spoke, that is completely right. Particularly in domestic in-house collaboration, what happens in any any department, you can consider this mechanical one, you can consider management, computer science, every department they have some sub specialization. Like, just I'm giving one example related to your management. In management, you'll find the people, some people they will be working in finance, some people they will work in HR, some people they will be working in operations. Likewise, in all kind of department, you will find the subdomain. When inside that, within a department, some people they are collaborating with each other, and they are doing some kind of work, that is also called as the domestic in-house collaboration. At the same time, if if someone is collaborating with someone who is not from that particular domain, is from another domain, but in that case also you can do the collaboration, and you can do this interdisciplinary research. Just now I'm giving one example related to that. Nowadays, a lot of mechanical people they used to collaborate with computer science people. See, this machine learning, this your this some kind of coding and all. Whenever we used to just do some kind of computational work, in that case, we used to take the help of some language course, yeah, some language code like C, yeah, Fortran, yeah, like that only. In that case, it is it can be considered to be a domestic in-house collaboration. It is very vital. And the other example I would like to give in that way, that if you go to any institution, just I'm giving an example. Suppose you are going to IITs, in that you will find in a particular domain a lot of people will be working. Then in terms of experimental thing, all the equipment you will not find, which will be under a single faculty. What will happen? The student who will be yeah, working under that particular faculty, in that case, he may face problem related to the use of instrument. That's why what they do is they do some kind of collaboration with other faculty member of that department, who will be also working related to that area, more or less related to that area, and they can use their instrument, and they can share their knowledge. That will be also called as your domestic in-house collaboration. It is very very vital for particularly for the experimental yeah, experimental kind of research, because you won't find all the in the your equipment under a particular researcher, a particular faculty member. Sometimes a lot of faculty they have their own project, means the instrument will not be belong to the institute. It will be under that particular fellow who is having a project. A project may be from any organization. In that case, you can consider that that is a property of that particular person. And if you want to use that instrument, in that case, directly you have to that directly you have to contact to that particular fellow, a particular research your professor under whom that particular machine is there. So in that way, if you do the if you are doing the collaboration with that particular faculty member, you can do the experiment very easily, and it will be really helpful for you. That's why in that sense, it is very very vital for doing this domestic in-house collaboration. That's why in this scientific term, they tell that research you can do alone, but you cannot do the research in isolation. Means you have to contact with somebody, someone else who will be working more or less to that area, yeah, in some other area, by which your research will be a bit easy. Because see, if you are doing an experiment, sometime you may face some kind of problem, and if you will be thinking by yourself only, in that case it will be very tough for you to find out the problem, yeah, to evaluate that problem which you are facing. In that case, if you are taking the help of somebody else in from that area, more or less related to that area, he can give some kind of suggestion, and you can try that suggestion by which you can come out from that problem. So this kind of domestic in-house collaboration is very vital nowadays. For any institution, if you see, they are giving much more focus to this kind of collaborative work. Whenever you are writing any kind of project, anything you are writing, in that case, if so you are taking other researchers from the same background, yeah, some kind of different background within the institute, so that will be really helpful for you for doing for getting any kind of funding or any kind of this research project and all. This is related to this in-house domestic in-house collaboration. Means within the institute you are collaborating, within the institute you are collaborating with other faculty member of different area by doing the interdisciplinary kind of research.
Yes. So in this, I want to add one point. Is that again that is a very anecdotal point that is based on my experience. Uh, I had my first SCI paper from my master's thesis. In fact, I had my first two SCIs from my master thesis, but both of them were not very high ranked in not very high ranked journals in terms of impact factor. I think one was around 3 and one was around zero point 0.3 and the other was around 0.5. And as I was going through, as I was doing my PhD somewhere around in 2016, initially in 2016, at the same time, Dr. Ranjan was also doing his PhD in the same institute. So once while discussing with him, I came to know about his problem. I basically belong to a totally different domain than him. He works in the field of manufacturing engineering or manufacturing sciences, whereas I work in the field of structural engineering. So while in over a cup of informal discussion, over a cup of tea and an informal discussion, I came to know about his problem, and he came to know about his problem. He came to know about my problem. So he learned that I was doing something called the uh, optimization, which is basically I was using some kind of uh, codes or some kind of soft computing techniques in my structural engineering problems. And he also came to know about something called the meta modeling that I was doing for essentially solving high complexity problems or high computational intelligence problems into low computational intelligence problem. And then we thought that why not collaborate and why not combine both our ideas. And then we had a remarkable result. If I could even show you it uh, in my website. Uh, that was my third SCA paper, and I believe that was Dr. Ranjan's first SCA paper, the one we published
Yeah.
in Materials and Manufacturing Process. So
Yeah.
the impact factor of the journal was around 3.5, and you won't believe in that particular paper there are only three authors, and all three were non-PhD at that time. All three were at that
Yeah.
time just MTech students, and so in that paper, only three people were there: me, Dr. Ranjan, and one more person called Ishwar Sivakoti.
Mm.
He was also a PhD scholar at that time. So we all of three us collaborated, and we didn't have any supervisor, we didn't have any guide. But why we think it was accepted, and it was accepted with reasonable ease, means we didn't have to face that kind of harsh remarks
Yeah.
uh, from the reviewers, specifically because we did something that very few people have done at that point of time.
Yeah.
In 2016, very few people had done something that what we were doing. We essentially took a problem from laser machining, that is again a very specialized field, and we infused it with something from the soft computing from the world of computer science. So that was something very novel in its own way, and that is why the research that we come up with was remarkable. And then we could easily publish it in a journal which was around 3.5 impact factor at that time, at that point of time, and it was kind of a great moral booster for us. And then there has been no looking back from that point of time, and we have been regularly collaborating since then. And then we have collaborated with other people also who are slightly on different areas. For example, I collaborated with someone in my own department who was working in the area of fluid. I do not know much about fluid, means I had learned fluid as a bachelor student, but I have long lost most of the advanced stuff of the fluid. But I collaborated with someone for fluid. Essentially, if you even if you don't know what is fluid, let me tell you that he was solving something by using something called the computational fluid dynamics, a process that essentially took him around 28 days to solve a particular problem. So I suggested him that I can, if you give me sufficient amount of data, I can convert your problem to a data-driven problem, and I can solve it in within 1 hour. So he was also amazed by it, and I said that let me try. At least give me the data, and I will give you some wonderful results. Okay. So at the end of some discussion, and after trying to learn the basics of his problem, I was able to convince him, and then he provided me the data, and that data essentially I used it in my data driven kind of process. And then I was able to come up with a model, with a predictive model, or you can say a semi machine learning model that could solve his problem. The problem that he has solved in over 28 days, I could solve that in around 2 to 3 hours. So it was a remarkable boost for him as well. As well for me, it was a new learning area for us. Again, at that point of time, he was a PhD student. In fact, I was also a PhD student. Again, both of us published that article in a good journal called the Engineering with Computers, with around 3.5 impact factor. Again, in that paper also, if you go and see, we both were MTech students, and means essentially with MTech degrees, we're PhD students. We do not have any guide. So that is what I'm saying, that if you can take some core idea from your domain and you can put it in some particular area where no one has done that, then it can give you wonderful results. Okay, even if the results are somewhat, suppose say you can say these the results are not as good as your expectations. For example, in that case of the fluid problem, my accuracy was not that high. My accuracy was somewhere around 90% of what he was achieving. He was achieving an accuracy of, suppose say, 98% with respect to the real solution or the mathematical solution, whereas I was achieving a accuracy of 90%, but I was reducing the time by a significant amount. So it got accepted in a good journal, it again, in that case also, the kind of reviews that we received for that particular paper were very good, just because we have done something that no one else was doing in that particular area. So these are the some of the things that you can do.
Uh,
We, yeah,
Actually, Dr. Kanak, I would like to add some point out here that see, in case of this domestic in-house collaboration, it is the most easiest one I can say. See,
yes, yes,
the other two we'll discuss later on, but in this case, see, just you'll have to contact with somebody else from other department, yeah, somebody else who is working is in some other area. It will be easy for you to collaborate with them. Just like Dr. Kanak told that we both were discussing something about some other topic, then we spoke about the research topic of each other. Then we thought that like if we can use this technique in the manufacturing field, how it will be what kind of result we'll get. So then after that, what we did, we go through some literature survey, then we found that very less number of paper has been published related to that particular topic, and we consider that was that kind of as an objective of our work, and we proceeded, and we got the good result. That's why this domestic in-house collaboration, you will find those who are doing PhD, those who are working in a private or government organization, there you will find a number of faculty member, number of research scholar who will be working in other area. If you will be discussing with them related to your topic, related to their topic, what will happen, new kind of thought will come out. So that will help you to you know that will help you to proceed. Yeah, you have to consider as the objective of your work, and you can proceed in a positive direction, and that will be really helpful for you. And in that case, no need to go outside of the institute every day. Just you are within the institute, you are just talking with your colleague and related to a particular topic. That's why this domestic, first, those who are interested for collaboration, this is the most easiest one, and this is the most suitable one for any researchers who is doing PhD or who is doing the research after his PhD. That is the most suitable one, because you will get a lot of collaborator within the institute where you are working or where you are doing the PhD.
yes, yes. So it
Yeah.
is also very easy in terms of managing the time as well as managing the knowledge, because since we are again making an assumption that you are early career researcher. Okay, that is again a assumption that we are making while we are making this statement, is that you are an early career researcher, and if you are an early career researcher, maybe you do not, till now you have not developed that kind of an acumen where you have not published so much. You have published only limited number of journals. You do not know all the intricacies of publishing, as well as you do not know all the intricacies, all the nuances of submitting an article and all that. So if you do a in-house kind of collaboration, you can talk with the collaborator at any point of time. You can share each other's view. You both can share the views, or it may be a larger team than two. Also, it may be a 3-member team. It may be a 5-member team. So all of you can share your information very easily. You can share your data very easily. You can share the problem very easily. For example, if I tell you the fluid example, if it would have been a non in-house collaboration, it would have been very difficult, because then it would have been very difficult for me to understand all the complexities of his problem, because his problem was really complex. So it was only possible when he used a pen and paper and tried to over a course of like almost 1 week, he discussed the problem with me, and at the end of the 1 week, I was able to understand his entire problem. So in this kind of complex scenarios, it is very useful if the collaborator is just near you and you can always talk to him about the collaboration that you are doing or the problem that you are solving. Okay. So let us move
Actually,
on
in
to
this
the, yeah, yes, sir.
yeah, in this regard, I just wanted to add one more point. See, some departments are there, like within an institute, if you see, lot of department you will find, like mechanical, civil, electrical, the general science, like this chemistry, physics, mathematics. See, some departments are there, they're interlinked with each other. I'm giving one small example. If you consider a material science engineer, and if you consider with the physics or chemistry people, they can easily
Mm-hmm.
collaborate. If they will discuss, yeah, if they will discuss related to a particular topic, definitely new idea and new thought will come out. That's why
Yes, yes.
in that way also you can talk to the person who is more or less similar to your area. That's why it is
Mm-hmm.
not like the mechanical people, yeah, chemistry people means they can only work in that particular area only. You can collaborate with some other department which is more or less connected to
Similar,
that particular
yeah.
department. And
Yes.
nowadays this computer science and mechanical, it's a good combination, because the computer science people, they have a very good knowledge related to coding and all, and this mechanical people, they have a very good hardware knowledge. If we combine these two, it would be a you'll get
It will
a
be
amazing
remarkable,
result.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
remarkable thing you'll get. So these are the things you have to keep in the mind, and you can go in a positive direction for the collaboration within the institute only.
Okay. So let us move on to our next topic. The
Yeah.
next topic is about domestic institutional collaboration. So basically, this means that when you are collaborating with someone who is from the same nationality or from the same country, for example, if I'm collaborating with someone who is again from India, within India, and then when I'm collaborating with him, generally it can be a domestic institutional collaboration. So here, here logistically, it will be a little more advanced or a little more sophisticated than the first one, because here you will be geographically. Generally, it is assumed that you will be geographically separated from the your collaborator. So since you are geographically separated from your collaborator, maybe he may not, or he or she may not be at all times readily available for a discussion. Maybe both of you will not be readily available at all times for a discussion. But the good part of the domestic collaboration is that the language at times is familiar. Means even if suppose say English is of course not our first language. English is a second language for all of us. So maybe you can often what happens is that we tend to get to understand things better when it is explained in our mother tongue. Sometimes it happens for certain kinds of problem. So this could be an advantage when you are collaborating with a domestic institutional collaborator as compared to an international collaborator. And though it is a little tougher than the domestic in-house collaboration, but still it's easier as compared to the third category that we are going to discuss. So in the domestic institutional collaboration, what basically happens at least in the Indian scenario is that we know that in the Indian kind of system, uh, the institutes that we have that are divided into different kind of tiers, at least on the basis of perception, or at least on the basis of funding. For example, you know that there are institutes like the IITs which are considered to be, or ISC, which are considered to be
Fair one.
the premier institutes, right? Or the IIMs, which are considered to be the premier institutes. Or in case of science, now the IISERs have come up, and in case of technology, the triple ITs have come up. So these are kind of the most premier institutes. Then you get something like a, a bit less premier, like the NITs and the other institutes, other central universities. Then you have something like the state universities, where the focus is state universities or state public universities, where the focus is not essentially entirely on the research as compared to the central university. Here the focus is on research, but it is not at par with the national or the central university. Then you come to the lowest in the pecking order, the private universities. Again, I'm not teaching the private universities. I myself work at a private university, and in the latest ranking also, we have seen that a lot of private universities have done
Yeah.
much better performance than even most of the NITs. For example, we know that VIT this year has scored somewhere around rank 18, and BITS Pilani was also in the top 25. So a lot of institutes are there. Mahe Manipal was there in the top
Yeah.
30s or 40s.
Top
Okay,
30 and
so
all, yeah.
so there are a lot of private institutes that are also doing good, and by and large they are doing very good work. But overall, we are saying from an for a generalized perspective that the kind of infrastructure that the private college have is not comparable with, suppose say, the state university, or suppose say with the central university, or suppose say with the IIT. So in each of these four categories that I told you, the premier institutes, then the NITs, and then the NIT level institutes, and the central level institutes, and the state level institute, and the private institutes. So you find that the level of sophistication is very different in all of them, and the level of infrastructure that they have, that is also very different. For example, there are very specialized equipments. There is a lot of the funds that is pumped in specifically goes only into the IITs, if you talk about the technology part, or it specifically goes into the IIMs. So they naturally have much better kind of infrastructure as compared to some of the central universities, or some of the state universities, or the private universities. So naturally, what happens is that in a national kind of framework, or in a national kind of collaborative framework, your essentially what happens is that your focus essentially becomes very infrastructure oriented. Okay, it becomes very infrastructure oriented. At least that is my perspective. That is what I believe. So in all the collaborations that I have seen happening in the Indian context, I have generally, or in the national context, I have seen them essentially because of equipments. Means a particular equipment is not available with you, then you contact someone who has the equipment and you collaborate with him. Uh, Essentially, this is my belief. Again, I may be wrong. Dr. Ranjan can elaborate on that. But I believe that in most of the Indian collaborations that I have seen, at least in my short span of research, I've seen that they have essentially been done mostly for the rather for the rather for the material expertise or the equipment expertise as compared to the man expertise. Okay, they are more concerned about the Indian collaborators are more concerned about the material expertise or the infrastructure expertise. They are not so much concerned about the manpower expertise.
Yeah,
Am I right, Dr. Anjan?
yes. Actually,
Okay.
see, here I would like to at some point. See, in the one statement I would like to say out here is don't restrict your brain, don't restrict yourself within the institute only. You should go outside of the institute. What will happen? See, just I'm giving a small example. Suppose those who are, belongs to, suppose as I am belongs to Sikkim, yeah, my native place is Odisha. If you see that, if you roam around Odisha, you will find that Bhubaneswar is a very big city. Bhubaneswar is a very, it's a kind of, A grade city like this. Likewise, you can consider. Uh, until and unless you will not visit any other institute, yeah, other cities throughout India. Once you'll go to Delhi, Bombay, Chennai, Bangalore, then you'll easily identify, easily find out that, no, Bhubaneswar is, there are a lot of cities which are better than Bhubaneswar. Likewise, I told, don't restrict yourself within the institute only. You should go outside the institute, by which what will happen, you'll be able to meet different kind of people, you'll be able to find different kind of instrument, and you'll able to get new kind of ideas. See, uh, if you see the number of research article, you'll find like a lot of premier institute, they are doing a very good kind of work, and they are as per comparable to the international researchers also. In that case, without collaborating internationally, if you are getting same kind of thought, yeah, same kind of concept from your premier institute of your country, so that is really advisable. And this domestic institutional collaboration, it is very much beneficial, as a material science researcher. I can tell you that you will not find all kind of instrument in a single institute. That is a completely right thing, because the instrument cost is so high that you won't find all instrument in a single institute. Even if you can consider IIT or IISc, a lot of instruments are there, you won't find in that particular institute. And whenever you are doing any kind of work, and you are just doing you are just collaborating with someone from other institute, in that case you can easily assess their instrument, and you can do in your work by collaborating with that particular. Just I'm giving one example. What happened? One of my student, he was doing his MTech under me. Then it was related to experimental analysis. Then what happened? Like I was thinking of doing some kind of analysis by doing the testing of that particular material. Then I searched a lot of institute, and I found that that instrument is available in IIT Kharagpur. Then I wrote a mail to the particular professor under whom that instrument was there, and then we just spoke with each other. And that student, he went there and he did his this testing from IIT Kharagpur. Likewise, I'm telling, if in that case, if I would have thought that no, I'll be restricted within my institute, whatever instrument is available out here, I'll consider that instrument and I'll do the experiment on the basis of that only. In that case, what will happen? I cannot explore my thought. I cannot just enhance my thinking. That's why this collaboration is very necessary. If that instrument, any kind of things that is available within your country, you should use that one by doing a proper collaboration with the other institute within your country.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Kanak.
Yeah. This brings us to the third type of collaboration that we can have, that is the international collaboration. And the international collaboration is the most coveted among all of them. It is the most respected among all of them because it adds multi-country or multicultural authors to your paper. So it is mutually beneficial for all, and it is kind of a prestige booster for all, right? Because you are collaborating with multiple countries. But logistically, this is the most difficult to manage because if you look at the time management also, maybe when you are collaborating with someone from Canada, he and you may not have the same kind of working hours. If you are collaborating with someone from US, he and you may not have the same kind of working hours. So the this kind of collaboration again becomes difficult because of this kind of restrictions, as well as because of the restrictions that you are geographically very far off separated, you are culturally very far off separated, you are linguistically very far off separated. So generally what may happen is that, suppose say you may be collaborating with someone. I am giving my own example here. I was once collaborating with someone from Turkey, and it happened to be in the around the time when I was getting married. So I don't know what is the culture in Turkey, but I was not able to reply to his mails for a lot of time. And then he asked me that where are you and all that. And then I replied to him that I just got married, and so I have taken a long kind of holiday for my marriage rituals and so on. So he was quite surprised, and he said that okay, it was 15 days was quite a long holiday that you took. So this kind of cultural hindrances are also there, right? So this kind of cultural hindrances also there. So because of this, he couldn't. He could, maybe it was very unrealistic for him that how for just for marriage a person could take 15 days of leave from his academic work or suppose research work. But if you are collaborating with someone and you know the cultural background, if you know what kind of situations he is facing right now, and that would also help, because then you will be able to plan better, you will be able to manage your time better and all that, right? So that is why international collaborations are the most difficult ones to manage. For example, generally what happens is that I am collaborating with someone from Finland. So generally whenever we talk, whenever we are not talking on WhatsApp, but whenever we are talking on the Gmail, through Gmail or through Dropbox, I would leave him a message generally at night, and then when I wake up, I generally get the reply from him. So this kind of time management you have to do whenever you are dealing with, whenever you are working with international collaborators. So time management becomes very essential for specifically for this international collaborations. Again, what you have to look at is that what kind of contributions do you want from him. Again, suppose say if you are in the you are working in terms of experimental in experimental collaboration, then what happens is that, suppose say you are preparing a sample here, and then you want it to be analyzed in his country or in his institute. Then because of the logistic differences, or because of the logistic restrictions, sending the sample to him may take a lot of time. That may be a wastage of the time that you are spending in your research, because you then have to wait for another 10 to 15 days for the material to reach him, or the hardware to reach him. Then he will analyze and he will get the results. So in that way also, this becomes difficult. Specifically, I find that international collaborations work very well when you are working in the field of, suppose say, social sciences or humanities, or even in the field of engineering also, when you do not have hardware oriented problems, you have very software oriented
Yeah.
problems where everyone can collaborate in real time. Because what happens is that there are a number of platforms now. For example, there are a number of platforms that I can give you the examples later. I can give you the exact name of those platforms where you can both write the, even you both can write the article at the same time. There are certain platforms like Authoria, where you can also write the article and he is also writing the article at the same time. You are working on some other part of the article,
Yeah.
he is working on some other part of the article. In this kind of tasks, international collaboration is very useful and it is very easy to manage. But in the other type that I told, that whenever you want to analyze some materials or whenever you want to have some physical experiments done at two different institutes, then you have to again make the time frame a little lenient, because you have to take the restrictions. Because right now, if you see, if someone was collaborating with someone from international abroad university in terms of hardware based problems, then obviously now he will not be able to send his samples or uh, send his data, if it is a hardware kind of data, to the foreign parts because of the lockdown and all. But those who are doing right now, those who are doing international collaborations like me, those who are doing international collaborations specifically in the area where they do not need this kind of interactions, they need only interactions through the online mode, their collaboration is not being hampered, right? So that is again something that you should look at while when you are collaborating internationally. That is the logistics possible for you to manage in the long run, or what is the cost of this logistics that is going to be? Because suppose even if you're sending a parcel and if you are not covered by the funds for that, then you have to pay it out of your pocket. So all these kind of uh, logistical restrictions that you have to consider in mind. Any thoughts, Dr. Ranjan?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, already a lot of things you have explained, but I would like to add one more point out here. This is my personal experience. What I find is that the international collaborators, they are very much generous, I can say. Like whenever you'll write a mail,
Yes.
soon you will get a reply from them.
Yes. Yes.
It's my personal experience I'm telling. They do not skip the mail. They if you're writing anything, if they're ready to collaborate with you, then also they will write a mail. If they're due to some problem they are not ready to collaborate with you, then also they will write you a mail. They generally give the reply at a proper time. And at the same thing, what Dr. Kalita told, that if it is an experimental kind of thing, it will be a bit problem, because you are in a different place, they are in a very at the other part of the world. So in that case, that logistic problem, yeah, the transportation problem, that this thing create a problem. But if you're doing a mathematical calculation, yeah, if you're doing a numerical kind of research, or you can see that any kind of survey, any kind of statistical analysis, in that case you can easily do this your international collaboration, and it will give a very good impact on your research.
Yes.
We'll discuss in the later on how we'll do that,
Yes.
how we'll do the international collaboration. But see, if you're doing that, if you're able to do that, then it will really, give a very good impact over your research, over your article, yeah, whenever you are submitting a proposal also, that will create a good impact on that particular proposal.
Okay. So now, on that note, let us look at a couple of papers that have published that were published on the relative impact of what international collaborations bring. For example, in this particular paper, this particular paper is being again this particular research is being published in a SC award. This is published by uh, published by okay, some researchers from Spain and Italy. Okay. In that research, they have found out some very interesting evidences. What they have found out is that they have essentially compared different kind of collaborators with respect to their impact. I hope all of you by now know what we mean by impact. Basically, by impact, we mean the number of citations. Okay? So this is a very normalized kind of citations again. Again, normalized here means as we already explained in some of our earlier videos, that from field to field, that citations are going to be different. So this is a source normalized or domain normalized impact, wherein what we have done is that we have taken the bias out of the, where the authors have, what they have done is that they've taken the bias out of the equation. Means this now ranking or this now impact is valid for everything. Means you can compare engineering with materials, you can compare materials with humanities or anything. Okay? because this is now normalized impact. So this is basically the raw citation. Okay, suppose say this is the raw citation. Now, if you see here, when a particular, they have analyzed different countries. For example, they have considered somewhere around 40 different countries, and India is also there. This is the data for India. So India is also there. All these countries are there. So for these 40 countries, they have analyzed the data of different kind of researchers, I think for 5 years. So in these 5 years, what they found was that if they didn't do any collaboration, if there was no collaboration, then the citation that they received was the lowest. If you can see this particular green line, this is the line for no collaboration, no collaboration uh, papers, means here no collaboration was done. So you can see this citation is lowest in all of them. Okay? And if you can see this red line, or this kind of reddish kind of line, or semi-reddish kind of line, this is for the national collaborators. And the national collaborators, here if you see, it is the papers that were published with national collaborations did a little better than the no collaboration papers. Here you can see that the average impact factor, if you sorry, the average citation, if you see here, it was somewhere around, means it was again declining for as we go on for these different countries, it again goes on declining. So here you see that decline is still there country wise, but overall it has improved. The citation history of the countries have improved as compared to no collaborations. And then again, if you compare with the international collaborations, wherever there was international collaboration, you can see that there is a tremendous boost in the, there is a significant boost in the number of citations. You can see the number of citations, how it has boosted. For some countries, it has again degraded. There are some specific reasons for that, but in general, you see that the difference between these two is very high. So it means the citation of the particular countries have improved. For example, let us look at India. So if you look at India, again, you see that as compared to no collaborations, whenever some national collaborations were done, the impact factor, the citation increased by around 0.2 to 0.3. Okay, and when you compare with international collaborations, it again increased by about 1. Okay, 1 citation per paper was increased when you did some kind of international collaboration. So why this is happening is that because essentially what has happened is that we generally, or when we say we mean all the researchers, we generally, or it's normal human tendency, we generally believe those kind of things more where more people are, where more experts are there. Okay, so whenever it is an interdisciplinary kind of work, we believe that okay, these are 4 different experts. If suppose say there are 4 different people from 4 different institutes, we believe that all these are 4 different experts who are experts in their own area, and they have come together to bring a very quality kind of work. So in that case, what happens is that the citation history improves. The other reason why the citation history improves is that, for example, suppose say you are a renowned professor from India. Okay, we all suppose say know you, and suppose say we are reading your papers and we are citing your papers. But someone from China, he may not know you, he may not cite your papers. But if you are collaborating with someone from China who is again a renowned professor there, then all the Chinese people who knows him will go and read your paper as well. Means in the paper where you are a co-author, so he will cite that paper. So obviously now you have gained a new market for the citation, where earlier the Chinese people were not citing you, now they are citing you, because now you have collaborated with someone who is respectable in their country, and now they believe in that person or they believe in that researcher, and because of that now they are citing your paper as well, right? So in this way you can get a good benefit out of international collaborations when you uh, in terms of citations. Okay, again, essentially if you see this particular history, you can see that countries like Denmark and countries like Netherlands have very good citation history as compared to countries like India, China, and Russia, and all these kind of countries. Whereas countries like the country like USA, which is the highest producer of SCIs at this moment, it produces the highest percentage of SCI articles that the world produces. So it is also at a very good kind of stage, or it is also having a very good kind of boost in terms of the improvement in the citation history. Let us look at another interesting figure. Here, if you look at something called the percentage collaboration versus the gain in normalized citation. Okay, again, I should tell you here that this is gain, this is not the normalized citation. Here we are looking at the normalized citation, but here it is the gain. Okay, so what is the improvement in the citation when you are doing some collaboration? So if we see here that when Iran collaborated with, when Iran did some collaborations, okay, when researchers from Iran, they do some collaborations, suppose say, from all the papers that they analyzed, 20%, whenever there was there was only 20% collaboration by Iran, and in that they found that the citation improved by about 0.25, okay, by about 0.25. Whereas if you look at India is somewhere here. So India also did kind of moderate kind of collaborations, where they did around 18% collaborations in this, in the study sample that they took. There were around 18% collaborations from India, and in those 18% collaborations, the Indians saw at around 0.45 gain in the normalized citation. So this is a good kind of boost when you look at the number of citations. Again, if you see countries like Sweden, here you see that essentially they are collaborating a lot. They are collaborating as much as on 50 to 60% of their papers. Okay, they're collaborating on 50 to 60% of their papers. And when you look at China, China is a very good benefitor. Though they are collaborating only in roughly 15% of their papers, but you can see their citation has gone up significantly. So the but overall, the healthy scenario that you see from here is that everyone is gaining. Means here nowhere you see a minus scale. Means anyone who is collaborating, always they are having some gain in their citation. Okay, they are not having any kind of degradation in their citation. So this is kind of a healthy pattern that you see here, and that is another. This study again reinforces. Maybe you can go and read this paper also. This is by Bote, quantifying the benefits of international research scientific collaboration. So this kind of studies essentially tells you that why collaboration is so important, and how it can help you in the long run, how you can boost your impact, how you can boost both your qualitative as well as quantitative output, qualitative as well as qualitative research output. Dr.
Actually,
Ranjan, is
very
there
good.
anything?
Yeah. Actually, very good statistical analysis has been there in that particular two papers. Actually, I didn't, know that particular paper. But yeah, definitely this, collaboration, it increases the citation. But they have given a particular statistics that is really good
Yes,
to
yes.
analyze. Yeah.
Yes. So let us now move on to the next topic. Now, how do you identify the potential collaborators? Now we have talked so much about for roughly for the last 45 to 50 minutes we have talked about what is the importance of collaboration and all that. But now we come to the actual part where we have to identify that what is the who can be your potential collaborator? How do you identify them? So again, this is again a very non informal kind of conversation. Again, these are some criteria that we have listed, and we do not believe it to be the actual technical content. Maybe people like Bote, who are actually doing research in this, maybe you can go and read their papers, and maybe you can see if they have given some name to this kind of strategies. But this is the kind of layman language that we are going to use, because we want you to understand that how you can build a good potential collaborative network. So the first thing that you can do is that how you can identify potential collaborators is by physical contact. So what we mean by physical contact is, for example, he can be someone from your lab mate. You know that he is doing very good research. For example, in my case and Ranjan's case, I know that he was working in this particular field. He was working under this guy. I also knew him as a master student when we both were in this kind of same class. So I knew his work ethics and all that. So in that terms, that was a physical contact. Another kind of physical contact can be someone whom you meet in a conference. Suppose you go to a conference, you attended a particular conference, you attended his talk, and you found his talk very good, or you found his talk very something that you can use in your research. Or maybe even if you are not listening to his talk, maybe you talk with him during the informal kind of sessions. So these are the examples of physical contact, where you come in contact with your researchers in a very physical sense of the way, in a very physical sense, where you actually meet them in person and where you can discuss with them. Okay, Dr. Ranjan, any thoughts on this?
Yes. Actually, this physical contact, that is one of the most vital one, particularly in term of the conference that you mentioned, rightly mentioned. See, the people, maximum people, researchers, they go for conference. The 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 first thing is that they will definitely present their paper. next benefits is that to make a good contact. That is one of the most vital things, and that contact make a good impact to do the collaboration, yeah, do some kind of collaboration with that particular fellow. Actually, it is my personal experience. I can share you. So I can share with you that I have already attended more than 20 25 international conference in abroad and as well as in India also. I mean, I have made a lot of collaborator related to my area. That's why whenever you'll be interested for attending a conference, try to attend a conference of your own research theme. It is not like don't try to attend a conference where very vast topic, a vast scope of area of scope will be there. So always try to attend a conference where your area of the theme will be there. At the same time, what will happen? You'll get a number of speaker. You will get a number of invited speaker related to your area. At the same time, you'll get a number of participants from your area by which you can do the proper collaboration. Because see, those who are doing research within a particular theme, your area of research will be very much specific. In that case, if you want to collaborate with someone related to that particular topic, in that case you will have to go for a conference which is organized on the basis of that particular topic or any area related to that particular topic. And this conference, this physical contact, that is one of the most vital one for doing the collaboration. Actually, see, I'm giving one example. Last year, probably in 2019, in 2019, I had been to Bahrain for attending a conference. While I was presenting my paper, what happened? One guy was from Egypt, so he came to me after the presentation. He was from mathematics background. I was like in my work, some experimental analysis was there. At the same time, some mathematical formulation was there. He was from mathematics. He didn't know about that particular topic, a particular mathematical analysis. He gave me his contact number. I also share my contact number. Then now we used to have a chat related to that. So he has assured me that if you have any kind of any kind of help related to mathematical calculation, mathematical modeling and all, I am ready to help you. Similarly, I met to one guy in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He was from civil background. He was from civil background, but while talking with each other related, giving the presentation and talking with each other related to our area of research, we both found that yeah, we can do some kind of collaborative work, and we have already working on a particular paper which is related to his area. I have given some of my thought. I have given some of my idea in his paper. That's why we're doing some kind of collaboration. That's why if you are going for a conference, don't don't think that just you'll go there and just to present a paper. That is okay, fine. You are going there, your main purpose is to present the paper, but the main benefits you will get by doing the collaboration with the participant, with the speaker, who will be who will be presenting, yeah, who will be available during the conference. With them you can do the proper collaboration. Yeah.
Yes. So the next type of collaborator that you can have, or the potential collaborator that you have, is someone that I defined as the admirer. Okay. Again, as the name suggests, that it is someone that I admire, or that suppose say he admires. Okay. So in this case, what happens is that maybe you are working in a particular field, you are reading a lot of literature in your field, or you all read a lot of literature in your field. So you read a lot of literature and you find someone's work very interesting. Obviously we have found all of those works interesting, that is why we are studying them. But someone works we have found more interesting than the others. Maybe you write his writing style, maybe you like the way, the analysis that he has done, or maybe you like how he has described the whole setup and all that. So there is always someone in our domain that we generally admire. So in my case also that happened. So this admirer, what you can do with this kind of admirer is that maybe you can write them a mail. If suppose say they are physically separated by you, if they are suppose say from the same institute, there is no embarrassment in walking up to them and saying that I have read some of your works and you are doing brilliant work, let us collaborate. There is no embarrassment in that, right? And if suppose say you both are geographically separated, he is from suppose say some other institute, or maybe suppose say other country, what you can do is that you can drop him a mail. But what I suggest is that whenever you drop him a mail, be very specific. Be very specific that I have read your such and such paper. I have found this and this interesting, and also tell him, also give him some idea about who you are, and also give him some idea about in what kind of area you want his help. Suppose say if you're contacting him that I read your this and this paper and you have done this XYZ analysis, and I liked how you interpreted the results of the XYZ analysis. Then you introduce yourself and you tell him that I am working in the ABC kind of domain, and why not let us combine your XYZ analysis to my ABC domain. So in that way, he will also feel that okay, this person has actually read my paper and he has understood whatever I am trying to do is my paper. At least partially he has understood, and now he has given me a kind of new problem where I can apply this, right? So he will also feel happy in the sense that I am getting a new kind of challenging problem where I can apply my knowledge, or where I can broaden my spectrum. So I would say that in most of the cases, the person to whom you send a mail like this, they will accept your request of collaboration. But generally, what happens is that I have seen in my case also, I received a lot of emails specifically from the time that I am associated with RSRI, and I'm doing a lot of this kind of online courses. I'm getting a lot of mails just stating that I'm from this and this department, let's collaborate. So sometimes that's not enough. Frankly speaking, that's not enough, because uh, just by knowing that you are from suppose just by knowing that you are from mechanical engineer, I do not know what kind of problem that you are working on, or I do not know what is your research output till now. Okay, so and I do not know in what way I can help you, whether you're in your particular field can I apply my knowledge, or whether in my field can you apply your knowledge, because not necessarily that all knowledge can be applied to all field, right? So it is always important to provide some additional information whenever you are contacting your admirer, or whenever a admirer is contacting you. Or it can be a vice versa thing, right? So you should always be very specific that this is the help that you want from him. At least when you are trying to introduce to that person, you have to be very specific, and this I am doing, and please help me in this and this area. And essentially, if you explain the problem very well, obviously he or she will uh, agree to work with you. Any thoughts, Dr. Ranjan?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I would like to add one more point out here. As you told that, some people they write a mail that I want to do the collaboration. Yes, that is right. I have also received some of the mail, and I know some some of my friend, yeah, some of my juniors, like just for the sake of collaboration, they write a mail to the eminent personalities. Sir, I want to do the collaboration, and we'll work together. Likewise, they write a mail. So that is that is completely unacceptable. See, before writing someone any mail, first you have to clear your idea. Means what, for what reason you are writing the mail to the particular person, and you should clear your doubt, and you should formulate your problem. Yeah, this is the problem. I want to do the I want to work in that particular problem, and that particular fellow is working related to that area. But once your idea will be clear, your objective will be clear, then you send a mail, and that will be helpful for you. And definitely the other end, the person to whom you will send the mail, he will definitely he will reply you. A maximum chances is there that they will definitely reply you. But thing is that if your that you can say that uh, your preparation will not be sufficient. Means if your idea is not sufficient, your this your the idea, your basic concept related to that topic will not be sufficient. In that case, a negative impact will come from that opponent end. He will be thinking like that, for a sake of collaboration he has sent a mail to me. That's why whenever you're sending a mail to any particular person in that area, first you clear your doubt, clear your be very much specific, and write a mail to them. Then you will get a positive reply. I'm sure that you will get a positive reply, and you both can go do the work in a good direction, in a positive direction.
Yes, that is true.
Very important while contacting to someone through mail.
Yes. So the third type of contact, or the third type of potential collaborator, that we have named it as the social contact. And you can also think of it as a surprise kind of contact. Why I'm saying it is a social contact or a surprise contact? Because there are essentially now a lot of social platforms. We all are on social media. Maybe it is on Facebook, maybe we are on Twitter, maybe we are on the
LinkedIn.
ResearchGate. Yeah, we are on LinkedIn, we are on ResearchGate. So all these kind of social media sites are there, which help you to connect with different kind of people. So why I am saying that it is social contact, or if I have to name it in some other way, I would name it as the surprise element. Why I'm naming it as a surprise element is that maybe you are reading through your you are going through your LinkedIn feed, and you find someone who has shared a article that I have just published this article in this and this journal. And then you come to know that, okay, this person is already in my friend list or in my contact list in this particular social site, and he has published this paper. It looks very familiar to what I am doing. It looks something that I can incorporate in my work, and then maybe you can contact him through that particular same kind of social network, and maybe you can introduce yourself to him, and then or him or her, and then maybe you can both collaborate. So that is why I'm saying that this is kind of a surprise element, and this is again something that that happens spontaneously, and this is again something that that is a by chance event. For example, the first two that we described, for example, the physical contact and the admirer, that needs proactive uh, thought process from your side. You need to be very proactive to approach them. And the social contact or the surprise element that we are seeing, that is something that can happen very randomly. You cannot plan on that. That can happen very randomly. You see a person in your social site who has done some wonderful job, or who has shared something based on your research, and you find it very interesting, and you find that, okay, this is something that I can also add to my knowledge base. Then you contact him, and then you both work together. So this is the third kind of categorization that we have made in the identifying the potential collaborators. Dr. Ranjan, if you would like to add
Yeah.
anything, you can add.
Yes,
Otherwise,
yes,
I
yes.
will. Yeah, yeah.
I think you covered almost all the point related to the third
Yes,
one. But I would give more preference to the first and second one
yes, yes,
for contacting
yes.
for the collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah. Why specifically I mentioned the third one here was that because as a collaborator who has collaborated with multiple people from both national as well as my in-house as well as internationally, I have the most successful one that I have till now is by far you, of course, who was a physical contact. But the I would say the second most, or the most uh, kind of the most uh, viable collaborator, international collaborator. I got to know him through social contact. So there was this professor, Dr. Zhao Zigao, who is a renowned professor in the field of computer vision and in the field of machine learning. And he is on the editorial board of a number of SCI journals, in the topmost SCI journals like Applied Soft Computing and all that, top SCI journals in the Elsevier. So he is on the editorial board of those kind of websites. So I never knew about him before that, and even if I do not remember that I knew him, and even if I knew him, I didn't thought that he may be someone that I can approach this really, because if you see his profile, he has somewhere around 4,000 or 5,000 citations, and he is, of course, if when he is the associate editor of that kind of reputed journal, you believe that this kind of people would be very busy. And I, being a very early career researcher at that point of time, somewhere around 2016 or 17, it was kind of unbelievable for me that I could collaborate with someone like him. But once I saw a particular, let me share some case studies, my own case study kind of thing. So somewhere around in 2016, I hope so. Yeah, somewhere around in 2016, I wrote him a mail that I'm this and this person, I'm working in this and this area. I wrote a mail to him after seeing a post that he had posted in the LinkedIn. I posted my particular problem to him, and I posted some information to him. And then I was very surprised that he immediately replied me back with some more information regarding his designation and all that. And then from that point of time, we have been regularly communicating, and till now been able to we have published at least I believe so, at least 4 to 5 SCI journals I have published with him, all in very good impact vector journals. His kind of knowledge that he have shared though he has not been able to give me that kind of time. It's not very large amount of time, but whatever time he gives me, he is able to explain to me that this is how you can approach a particular problem, or this and this particular topic you can add in this, or this particular analysis you have to proceed in this way. This kind of viable information he gives me, and that is why we have been mutually benefited by this kind of work. So again, there from the second category, I would like to give one more example. The second category, as I told, was the admirer category. Okay. Again, I intentionally named it as the admirer category because it again this kind of another collaboration. It started for me with a kind of mutual. With not it was not a mutual admiration at first. I hope so. At least now it is a mutual admiration. But at that point of time, I was kind of I had a very fanboy kind of moment, or I was reading Dr. Tanmay Mukhopadhyay, who is currently an assistant professor in IIT Kanpur. I was reading essentially a lot of his papers when he was at that time a postdoctoral fellow in University of Oxford, I believe. He was in University of Oxford. I was reading a lot of his papers. He has done tremendous amount of work in the tremendous amount of high impact work in the area of structural engineering. And one day I reached out to him. I reached out to him through email. I specifically mentioned him that I'm a doctoral candidate at this and this particular area, and this and this is the problem I am working on, and I wanted your help in this and this particular specific area. So he immediately replied me back, and he immediately decided to collaborate with me. And since then, I have been collaborating with him also, and we have been able to produce a couple of good uh, outputs with him. Again, there was this another professor, Dr. Erol Kilikap from Turkey. So again, I was reading one of his papers in the manufacturing area where he has applied similar kind of strategy that I was using. I contacted him, and he again immediately agreed. In all of these mails, if you see, the essential part that I was sharing was that I was sharing who I was and what I have done. For example, in Dr. Kilikap example, in fact, by that time, I myself had at least 3 4 SCIs in that particular area. So in his case, what I did was that I also sent him a published paper. I also sent him one of my published paper because I didn't know that whether he has read my paper or not. So I decided to send him a accepted paper, a published paper, along with the collaboration mail. So essentially, when he read through this paper, he gave me some feedback like I like the work that you are doing and all that. And so in this way also you can approach. Again, there can be some you once you establish yourself in a particular field, you will also get this kind of mails from someone else. For example, there's this very renowned professor from India, Dr. Sudhanshu Kumar Mishra. He's from uh, uh, Nehu. He's from Northeast Hill University. He once contacted me commenting on one of my works, said that I have done an excellent work in that field, and maybe I should continue. He's a retired professor. He didn't want to collaborate, but seeing the work that I have done, he contacted me. I didn't know him. He contacted me, and he appreciated the work or effort I have done in that particular area because he also was a person who worked in that area. And similarly, there was this another professor from Turkey who himself contacted me once for a kind of collaboration with him, where he said me that he would even give me the MATLAB codes that he has or the files that you have, and then maybe you can collaborate. So this is how basically it works. So essentially, what I want to suggest you is that if you are an early career researcher, initially you have to make the push. You have to initially identify those people with whom you can collaborate, and with whom you can collaborate, and with whom you can grow. You have to identify them, and you can publish a couple of good quality papers with them. And as you establish yourself in a particular area, like the way I showed you, though I will not say that I'm still established, but I will say that I have a, for my age group, I have a decent amount of SCIs in a particular field. So you will also get those kind of collaboration requests, and then you establish more yourself in the field by choosing your collaborators more carefully, and then you can continue on from there. But initially, as an early career researcher, what you have to do is that you have to be very careful, and at the same time, you have to be very proactive. You have to take the initiative. You have to contact the collaborators. You have to tell them, you have to reach out to them and tell them that this and this particular area I'm working on, please work with me. You have to be persistent in convincing them that let us work together. And if you can get at least to work with at least one of those kind of reputed persons that I had, or if you can work, if you are able to work with them, then you can see that your citation history will also automatically improve. If you see my citation history also, if you go and see my citation history also in the Google Scholar, though it has not improved that much, but you can see a kind of improvement in the citation history. And I hope that with this kind of collaboration, it will go on increasing. I showed you some evidence also from the published kind of data, where it shows that when you do international collaborations, your citation history increases. So that's all from my side. Dr. Ranjan, any parting remarks?
Yes, yes. Actually, I just want to add some more point out here. Actually, it is a kind of suggestion you can tell that those who are doing the research in the primary level, those who are doing PhD, and those who have not done any kind of collaboration in their research, according to me, at least they should try to do some kind of national, collaboration.
Collaborations.
At least
Yes.
within India, you can do some kind of, national collaboration if you are doing experimental work or if you are doing a numerical work, and you should be clear about your work and for which things you want to collaborate with that particular fellow. That you must be clear. Then you write a mail, or else if you are going for a conference, if you're meeting with the person, you try to approach with that particular person. Then to try to do collaboration with that particular fellow, then you, I think definitely you will be get the success. After that you can go for the international one also, definitely you will get the success. So I can tell you, one case. I think along with Dr. Kalita, we sent one article to one of the very good your SCI index journal. What happened, we both were the author at the starting. I think it was from the editor. The editors sent that particular paper to us by writing that it is out of school like this. He wrote something, and he sent to us. After that, what we did, we just improved a bit in that particular article, and we sent to that particular journal, just changing the title of the manuscript. Or then what happened, they consider for the review. That's why that collaboration, it was the impact from the collaboration only. If you are doing a collaboration like international collaboration, yeah, national collaboration with a very renowned person of that particular field, what will happen, while you will send the article to the journal, I'm not telling you that they will directly accept, but the probability and chances are there, they will consider for at least for the review. Am I correct, Dr. Kalita?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that
So
particular case, what happened was that generally what happens is that we are also early career researchers. With I have
mm,
only post PhD somewhere around 1.5 years of experience, and similarly for Dr. Ranjan. So we are also essentially early career researchers, though we have published somewhere around 25 to 20 SCIs each. So in that particular case, what happened was that whenever we send the particular paper to that journal is a very high impact journal, one of the leading journals in that field. So we did the best that we can, or we did the best that we thought could be done with that paper. But once it was rejected from that paper without any kind of further peer review, without going into the peer review, we were kind of taken aback. We contacted one of the renowned persons from our field, from that particular field, and we asked him that, what are your thoughts on this? So he gave us his thoughts on that. He told us how to improve it. He told us not essentially a lot, but he told us somehow I would say that we changed only about 10 to 15% in that article. We added only 10 to 15% new material in that article, and then based on his insights, we improved that 10 to 15%, and we sent it to a better interpreter journal this time. And now we have at least got the revision from that particular journal, revision request from the journal. Do we have at this moment of time when we're talking, we've not submitted the revised version, but we at least the peer review was done, and we got a decent kind of review where
mm,
this was, you can say that probability, there is a probability that it will be accepted. So this is the kind of impact of the collaborators, where it not just adds a impact on the author list that you have, but it also impacts into in the way that these are some very experienced, because he with the person that we contacted, he was a very experienced person in that particular field. He in 1 minute he was able to in a couple of hours he was able to identify what we could not have been. Uh, because it was because when he told us that idea, it was a very simple idea. We could have also thought of that idea, but we didn't think of it that way. It was a very simple kind of analysis that we could have done, but we had not done that. So that is the kind of expertise that experience also brings. So you have to also be a little persistent in the manner that you have to also collaborate with people who are experienced, who have published so much. For example, the person that we collaborated with, he has somewhere around 150 SCIs. So obviously, someone who has published 150 SCIs, he has much better knowledge than someone who has produced just 25. So overall, this brings us to the end of this particular discussion session. So we hope that this discussion session was very useful for will be very useful for all of you. All of you will take the motivation that we have tried to provide you in this particular session, and you will try to reach out to different kind of collaborators. You will try to collaborate. We will try to come up with impactful research. Again, the final footnote or the final ending remarks will be go and build a active kind of uh, uh, profile in the LinkedIn as well as in the ResearchGate. These are very good places to network. So here, what you can do is that you can contact with different person. You can so if you maintain a very active kind of profiles there, you will be very well benefited. I have been benefited from the LinkedIn as well as the ResearchGate also. So these are some places where you can start. At least this is the starting point for you. If I'm again assuming that you are an early career researcher, sorry if I'm making that false kind of assumption, but even if you are an experienced researcher, you can go and update your research profile, ResearchGate profile, and you can find a lot of collaborations there. In fact, generally there are certain messages also, or there are certain kinds of postings also where people write that I'm working in this particular area. Will you like to collaborate? So this kind of posts are also there. So maybe if it is related to your area, you can go and collaborate. So overall, this brings us to the end of this session. Thank you all of you for being such patient listeners, and keep researching, keep publishing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anjan.
Yeah, thank